Sashi Pegi Joshin Dojan Rira Piji Nide Girmadi Sange Shindu Nide Jogun Nanga Shima Chobar Shu Iltam Guru Ranamanya Lakanya Tayami Sange Chodan Sogi Shonanga Janjo Adam Dani Yasuchi Nagi Joshin Jiru Sonamgi Dola Penchi Sange Chobar Shu Sange Chodan Sogi Shonanga Janjo Adam Dani Yasuchi Nagi Joshin Jiru Sonamgi Dola Penchi Sange Chobar Shu Sange Chodan Sogi Shonanga Janjo Adam Dani Yasuchi Nagi Joshin Jiru Sonamgi Dola Penchi Sange Chobar Shu Tercera.
Parte. Posso voltar?
Tatine. Kasana. Timba. Chitungja Ramani Matubaris, Java. Matubik Tenda. Tendi in the school Yava. That you Karsigaris. Georgie. Chitungja Ramani Matubik to Tendila. Tendi in the school. Tendi Teletai. Today, Tendi is Charlotte of it. Tendi is here. Tobe Hadatan, Tendi is Tendi is Univa. That's just Children, the Rangun motivation, the career is part of the Telecarceras. Children, the Rangun motivation, the teachers Karkovas.
So now what we were talking about was how all phenomena, well, no phenomenon exists from its own side. All phenomena are non-existent from their own side. So then we said, because being dependent arising, and there are three types of dependent arising, dependent and related. There are three ways of being dependent and related. One is in terms of cause and effect. One is in terms of being imputed or designated on its parts. And then the other is in terms of being merely imputed from the side of the conceptual mind. So if we say something is empty of inherent, empty of existing from its own side, what would be the, and somebody says, well, why, why is it that they don't exist from their own side? What reason would you say for that answer?
Yeah. Children, you go to someone.
So the thing is, we have to say nothing exists from its own side, right?
Yeah.
But then we should be able to provide a reason for that. You should. So I want to hear from you the reason. Why is it that things don't exist from their own side?
Well, for one thing, if they existed from their own side, they would never be able to change. If they had inherent permanent existence. And also, then if you try to figure out what exactly is that, you can't necessarily find it.
The Guzinishi, that Guzikazna Rangani Tumna, then you do good or never say this, good or Pumaris. And the Guzikazna go Nyachi go with this, and Yam was.
So you have to do that. Then did the double of Cheva. Gee. can't catch it, tearing to them, Joe to ba, can't you take the chief? Yachi take the members of it. That did ba, when I sing the Gina, sing the sing the Kawa Masukonda, and sing the Kawa Mintogi Amarba. They are Tumate Negapsu, called Kawa Siriva. Yampa Jutsasuma. Ya, the Kawa the Merson, Jotere Susuna, Kawa the Merche, Yankula, any mink Sindachi Desuna. In a shita, you are Mambutu. Jenchi tea the Kawari, Jenchi tea the Tamba, any Karasude. Near Joseph of City, I can't change the pushing of today. Meta Silva, or this secret with that natures, your mamma to do that. Here that you change it about. You change it, Maduti Shunal Caressene, Kangi Tangi Temperature, Kappa Merikimas, Marissa. Then it you think it Tadawa meeting. Then it you think it Tadawa meetings, Tada. Metabachever here, but Tenju in big dengi, any Tenny Junior time. Tenny Junior Karasure. Karasure. Teach Tenju, the Karasa. Tenny Junior. Tenju Ripati. And Kelly give a dimmer Jessimba. That was she and Kelly give a dimmer Jessie. Kelly give a yes and she might give a yes, Lavimba. You do go into 10 day image school. 10 day image school. Kasakuya did 10 day image school. Chutam Jarangi Matubaris, Ramana Matuai, the 10 day image school. That is 10 day the Ramana Matu to Jirum to down the careers, Latimba. That is Nani Ramana to Matusiati, Kochi, Lola Chatan Chiarba. 10 days are Ramana Matuaris, the Ramana troops on a condition, Kala and Matuji in Kugaraba. And that is time you are ready to century. That is you are ready to century. That is Ani Karasure. DJ Vicholata, you are ready Chiarva. Too much Vicholata, you are ready Skayamari. Then you are to listen. Nagas singing that the magic to you are to say the Julian Tenchi at Reachirava, Kitchen Machi, Riarachita, Yachi, Tinicherva, what did it teach?
So it seems like you can use the reasoning that something changes, is subject to change, to show that it doesn't exist from its own side, because when something changes, it's because of, it's all to do with cause and effect. So certain conditions, under certain conditions, something will become one thing. Then the conditions change, and then the thing itself will change. Like, for example, if you take wood to make a post, or a pillar that supports something, some kind of post that supports things. So before you've made it, before you've made it into a post, it's not a post. You would call it a post, and it's not a post. Then when you actually use it for supporting something, then you can call it a post. So then if you were to take that post and use it to make a table, it would no longer be a post anymore. It would be a table. It would be called something different. It'd be called a table in this case. So when there's depending on certain conditions, it will be a pillar, or a pillar or post. Then the conditions change. Different conditions, it'll be a table. Then the changes can, the conditions can change again, and it can be a what's called like fuel for a firewood. So in other words, what we can say is, because of being a dependent arising, it's because it's dependent arising that it doesn't exist from its own side. So there's a scripture which says, it actually is the Mula Madhyamatkarika, which says that which is produced from conditions is not produced. So what that means is, if something is produced from conditions, it's not produced from its own side. There is that link between not existing from its own side and being produced depending on cause and conditions. So what we were saying before was, the reason we stated before for why why phenomena don't exist from their own side is because they're dependent arising, dependent and related. So then we need to understand how being a dependent arising is a proof that something doesn't exist from its own side. So we have to think about how what that kind of implies, existing from its own side. Something existing from its own side, you have to have that kind of idea, or this image of what it means, sense of what it would mean to exist from its own side. If something exists from its own side, then it would mean it doesn't depend upon anything. So the fact that it depends upon causes and conditions would refute the fact that it exists from its own side. So it's in that sense we can say it doesn't exist from its own side because it's a dependent arising.
The woman you been on already. Did you
I've got to turn the page over. So the thing is that that kind of reasoning works for things which are what we call causative phenomena or compounded phenomena, things which come to being through depending upon causal conditions. But not everything is like that. There are things which are uncompounded or non-causative phenomena, such as space. So then you wouldn't be able to say that space doesn't exist from its own side because it depends upon cause and conditions. No.
Did you think did you think you liberty then you liberty then down in the tower but in G dang it tower is Jehovah. Just when I shoot the tower dish, then you would have attended Jehovah. But then you the Rashi maybe to Chilla Rashi to maybe Rashi Matu to Chilla, then you images could be erba. That then is Rashi Matu said the Quag are related to us.
In the Madhyamatkarika, right, the engaging or supplement to the middle way Chandrakirti's text on emptiness, he says that the reason of dependent arising cuts through the entire network or the entire web of the wrong views. So what he's saying is that we need to use the reasoning of dependent arising to show that things don't exist from their own side. So he says that, but then we need to get some sense of how it is that being a dependent arising is a proof that something doesn't exist from its own side.
Tati karirasina Rashi Gituna Ane Shanda Deva never took this. Tatiba Rashi Kanju Kangro, Rashi Maturis Tache Jagurba. Tache on the Karasina Rashi Matuta Kakarasina Rashi Gituna Kanaya Termit to did Kanaya Termit to Tuna Ane Taki Ane Chukandachine Nugula Sobato Suinane to Jen Turn Tubutuba. Ochesa Nubuti Ane Jay Nugurabti Ane Rashid Tubamara Karasina could to Jen Mambuchi Sobalatin Tubuyaraba. Jay Sabin the Tuberba, Jay Nubuti. You can't choose the Tuberba. It is can't choose the Sobat in Jay Turn. Ani Jay Sabitin Jay Nubuti. 3 years in any day. This Tongolas was to any Jebu. Ya jealous of the Stuburba. Jelly bulletin jet to Guraba. Jazako Nubuti Ale Rashika to Vena Sabel the Tavern never Tambukunete. You would to do it, Chikubiera. Kurashika to Vena. Or the did just down. Shetam Jerashi man said the Taja Kubir, Taja the Garrison, Rashi Trupsuna. Shall double never tend to Kubri. Taken Jundegi Chutusuni to Jana Tebere. A delay in the Chutusuni Chashia Tebata. Gashet Tobe Joji Tobal Tebere. Chetam the Toba Pata to Joji Tobal Tebere. Tobalana long Shaguya, Mishiji. You couldn't towards him Yamapena. Mini Michila Tower dates in the Chile Tanangi, Chile Nangierba. The Karasene Nibuti, Tobeongi, Chile Tana, Chile Nye Navade. You couldn't money, Tadangi Galito Marva. Nekotai Nye Sabachirva. You couldn't when a tie in Sulanana and Tade. You couldn't when a nye near to Vena, Nip Megawas, Megani Tilia Nandi, near the Nanguyarva. Tinang Meduga, Kukureto on the Swisharva. Chesa, any Georgie Tobalatini Joba. Tadunata Georgie Tobalatini Trusi. To Janatini Tuba, Chashalatini Tuba. What was Yisata? Any Rashid Tubatani Yamari is here.
If something existed by its own, by nature, by its own nature, then that would mean it's established or it comes into being without depending upon anything else. If that were the case, then if you take, for example, a sprout, like a sprout that grows from a seed. So that sprout depends upon various causes and conditions. Like, for example, you have if you have a rice sprout, then that depends upon the seed from which it grew, also the moisture, the nutrition, and so on. There are many conditions which are responsible for the production of that, or the coming into being of that sprout. So you have that process, don't you? First of all, you have the seed, then gradually you have the sprout, then the stalk, thorns, and so forth. So if the sprout were to exist from its own side, by its own nature, then you wouldn't need the seed. It would be that sprout right from the very outset. It wouldn't become a seed through depending upon, it wouldn't become that sprout through depending upon the seed. So therefore, existing by its own nature means not depending upon anything else, not relying upon, not existing relative to anything else. In the case of compounded or causative phenomena, dujikja, then they depend upon causes and conditions. But then there are also the non-compounded phenomena, like space and so on. So they still are dependent. What they depend on is their parts, and also the conceptual mind which posits them. So, because the thing is that the whole phenomena exists through appearing, through the force of appearing to the conceptual mind. So, like for example, in the case of friend and enemy, one single person can appear as a friend to one person. To another person, that one will appear as an enemy. So this is all created by the conceptual mind, both of these appearances. The person can't be both a friend and enemy, and if the friend were the one that's and if the friend is a friend from their own side, then they would appear as a friend to everybody. If the person's enemy from their own side, they would appear as an enemy to everybody. So, like there was 100 people there, that person would appear as a friend to all of them, or as an enemy to all of them. So, actually, it's all created by the conceptual mind. Ultimately, when you talk about depending upon causal conditions and parts and so on, ultimately everything depends upon the conceptual mind which posits them.
Oh, that's it. When Changrabjina, Chandi, Chantunyati, Chandra Gumba, Chirajinati, Chandi Rocho to give a Jinadia. But Chandi didn't never Chama to me. Did Gina Chandi wrote to Jarabji, Rocho to give a Nangiamari. Chant to Natome, Jumelania Bukam Yungruba. When I thought Chulu Gravjana Parshati and Gashing Chot to give a Nangiari. And if Kaji Chulu shooting Erabji and the Parsha said, do not shoot Nangiari. And then Parshati wrote Chot to give a Gina, Korang Mena to win. Sulinani di rocha di kibarachi nangurva. Gashila rodi mishimba, rodi cho maimba. Indi jinasunga gashila cho dunangatuba. Yu kurang gumana matuwa insan tiriba, tobeong bichedu.
Like beer, for example, for somebody who's used to drinking beer, who's in the habit of drinking beer, then the taste of beer is like the best taste. Whereas to somebody who's not, doesn't have a custom of drinking beer, then it's a very bad taste. So it doesn't appear to them to be the most delicious taste. It doesn't appear that way to them. To them, it appears like it's quite revolting. Or like with pork, to some who don't have the kind of like maybe the religious interdiction, then it's the best tasting meat. Whereas for others, like for religious reasons, it's like poison to them. They feel that it's really awful. It is really awful to them. So if it were, the best taste from its own side, then whoever eats it, it would appear to be the best tasting meat of all. And if it was really like really revolting from its own side, then whoever would eat it would find it revolting.
That is the Mamba Yaritine, around the Churabjine, Chudi, around military Shimburabji. Sagitali time the Joshing the Tania Mari, Chuseti, Rodi, Rope, Karasum, Mishimbar Chimishuji. Any I did launch at the duty of Jirva. Did it duty no junior to Subi? Two Jodi, any Rob Mishimba. Tachi, launching Menduber, now Jingurba. Don't you grant Rocho to Juburabjina and Suliane? Chagitani di Rodi Yapimba. That's so tani Chirunga. Did the Chibere. Near Sanji City and to Nadulanaya to Skangalo. Any Kangolo to Nigger and Ship of Chirba. Nadulanaya, Nudulunja, Kangolo to Nigger and Ship of Chirba. Sanji seemed Nadu the Yapuji, no Chiriaba. A short Giverji, on Yaputusta. What is and it could look to them on the path, nice of Jerva. You when a could Naranzo Russian but of a Kalashim Russian Shimbarati. Look to them on the panache of the remission, you do when at the Shimbarati to Yamara. What is some? And I do not into somebody to pay you to many. Roach short of the Shimbarati into you do one nation, Robert in India. You couldn't want to pay Roshing Day, now a chillier. And the road to where of the you couldn't want to be number of child. But the and it's so bad to say that in Chitan, Palace of Tusula, Roger in India.
So there are many examples like this, like water, for example. We drink water, we think it's delicious, but for God, it wouldn't be tasty at all. What they're used to drinking is nectar. So for them, water is not at all nice. They don't even in the slightest have this feeling that they would like to drink it at all. So if it were really delicious from its own side, whoever drinks it would find it delicious. And if it were really awful from its own side, whoever drinks it would find it awful. So that all that appears to us seems to exist from its own side. So, for example, like what appears to us, we think is all very nice because of, this is a mistake in our own mind, but that's how it appears to us. Everything appears to be very nice. Buddha sees all of the things that in our world in being in the nature of suffering, but none of this is from its own side. It's all posited through appearing to the mind and doesn't exist from its own side. Like, for example, yes, so in terms of the appearance, it appears to be delicious, like certain food will appear to be delicious from its own side. Or if it appears to be revolting, then it seems to be revolting, disgusting from its own side. And yet, the different things can appear in different ways to different people. So, like for example, like excrement for dogs and pigs. This is like very, very nice. They really like it. They're very like.
Improvise.
dengan kala saya tu suka kalau sanu yang berciptaan sedikit ini boleh percobaan mengurunya cerita. Karena satu cik ini simbol cerita. Kecingnya boleh satu dom itu betul jadi loh tu jadi cerita. Ini ku jangan tu belum jadi cerita nanti ada. Sedar delitari kulitari kukeji jebal be tiredo ni cita samlutain du kutungan ayak so jirba ko ya oti rete ku jurtu duga ikara sene marando na ti rodi shibara bijarangane tu nangi arti kupe lut sugar bijarwa rangane tu berjini keji ba ko soben mum ya meber chi rendu ba yamar keji ni ye te chi roshin better chi number that ye roshin ba se tu kuran mun number lo number ngarandula that sanje ki sigi nan manjul naya roti ini karusure rongi simbarba tunne geranshi keji ni bala togen mo dunyarchi kendeti tathagis taneti migita judi thagita judi tagina ani tajud jebina ni migita judi dan thagita judi kagati mita judi thagita judi mita judi shite negi amara ina sanje ki site ti negi amara sanje ti sun chonyi zobel dokjinan di yarba 저는 또 대기시 총이 dokjinan di 문제지 마다벨에 좀 나와진 게 어디에서 나랑 시기 두 번이 한 빠스 이제 삼다미는 잡았게 됐네 그렇지 봐 어디에 다 돼 있었지.
If you think about the food that we eat, it seems so delicious to us, and yet, like the next moment, it becomes filth. So the appearance actually of it being delicious from its own side is really quite mistaken. Because if it really were delicious from its own side, it would be impossible for the next moment for it to become something really disgusting, something which doesn't at all have a nice taste and doesn't at all have a nice smell and all that. So it appears to be delicious from its own side, but that appearance of being delicious doesn't come from the side of the object. It's our own conceptual mind which makes that appearance. So when the Buddha sees it, he sees it in the nature of suffering, knowing that that very food that you find so delicious, they put it into your mouth, and next moment it's like it's filth, it's disgusting. So you've got the way that the Buddha sees things, then there's the way humans see things, and these are not the same. The Buddha sees things, and how God sees things also again different. The way that the Buddha, how things appear to the Buddha is through the appearance of the Buddha is through the force of the two collections. So the Buddha has absolutely, perfectly completed the two collections of merit and exalted wisdom, and through the force of that, things appear to the Buddha through the force of that completion of those two collections. How things appear to us is due to our impure karma, and so when you understand that, that they're not like that from their own side, delicious and so on from their own side, then this helps you to prevent attachment and hatred and so forth.
등원은 예바 땜부치니에서 사실 매버리 두 그랑 그마 중에디 빙맥이 제마 중에 아니 가사들이 그 하고 그러봐 류신 인생 그러봐 류신 빙맥의 수수바 댄시로 제등나를 때니 그 중에 그 잡기야 말아 류신지 파티 주셔버려 뭐네 듀티 신들봐 다시 나도 뒤 하마고 데모도 속에 밀레니 비미지 나자르다 그 유크라이나 때문에 비미지 유레 삼바르치 처리야 유크라이나 때문에 비미지 침입을지 유발치는 데야 대나이도 잡기야 그렇게 주인이 되게 유크라이나 때문에 비미지 진짜 매를 찾고 해야 이걸 뒤나 시리다
So there's nothing which exists from its own side because everything is a dependent arising or dependent and related. So we can likewise say there's nothing which exists from its own side, because if it did exist from its own side, it wouldn't be dependent. If something doesn't depend upon anything, then it would be impossible for it to change. Whereas in the case of things, in the sense of impermanent phenomena, they change moment by moment. Each moment they change. And if they didn't depend upon anything else, then they wouldn't be able to change. We change, for example, with every minute that passes, we're a minute closer to death. With every minute that passes, our time for being alive is being used up, and we're getting closer to death. Whereas if we existed from our own side or by our own nature, then that would mean that we had come into being without depending upon any causal conditions. It would mean that we existed without depending upon any kind of causal conditions. That would mean that we would always be there, we would always have been there, and we would never change. So the conclusion we're trying to reach is that nothing exists from its own side. And when you understand that, then you understand that there's nothing which is true in terms of everything that appears to you. There's nothing which is true. And when you understand that, then you'd have less attachment. So, for example, in terms of how things appear to you, something might appear to be very beautiful, but now you understand that that's merely a mere imputation by the conceptual mind. And when you understand that, attachment becomes less, and when you have very deep understanding of that, then the attachment wouldn't arise at all. It's just like in the case of a conjurer or a magician who's able to create the appearance of a beautiful woman by using mantra or magical spells and relying on various basis for the illusion, which would be like pebbles and sticks and so on. So that magician, so still there's the appearance of the beautiful woman, but because of understanding that this is just a creation, that all that's really there is the stones and the sticks. There's not actually a beautiful woman there, so then they wouldn't feel the attachment. Whereas if we were in the audience, then that attachment could arise because we've been affected by the spell and we don't know that it's just been, that it's an illusion. We think it's an actual beautiful woman, and then because of that, then the attachment can arise.
뒤에서도 이제 디지털 때문에 좀 쓰나 이모 탐제 좀 벌고 그래. 그래서 Rashi YouTuber in the Timothy never son. 아니 좀나 아니 너무 탐제 좀 그렇게 보여야지. 그래서 너무 탐제 시대 이모를 때니 중요해. 너무 탐제 시대랑은 또 이제 별로 될 때니 아니 유랑은 또 진난 될 때니 아니 차바기 야 유랑은 또 진난 될 때니 콘도지야 시단기야 어때 유랑은 또 버티 매버지 로를 야부치 차서는 이 차단으로서부터 수간가 시중이 재산 어디 랑은 티무티 그래서 랑은 유랑은 두번 젠바티 티무를 샤네 티무티를 샤네 이다 매버스야기 탑시를 지고야 그래서는 티무티기 시제니 차단간과 디팅기야 티무티가 좀 투수는 아니 차단 탐지 어떻게 해? 어디 인사 디디그 어디 인사 단다디 아니 유랑은 그봐 그냥 나랑은 그번 지네 차단 간거 디팅게 나랑은 그번 지네 나한테 이게 뭐네 이버지 아니 디치도 나때야 저쳐야 되지 세야 돼 근데 나랑은 두번 지네 아니 나이 롱주제도 수랑은 접지나 네 그럴 때는 차단기 그래서 당분하시다가 신주지 다리 뒤심을 차기 봐서 제로 어디 뒤치기 버리 자산 당는지 라시메 갔다왔디 고아디 차야디 직차나 네 디아야 군디 야야 군디 제서는 디 차단도 수준을 쳐놓고야 아니 군디 타신 거 집중해서는 아니 차단 빠야 되는 거야 봐 디인상은 디 개천부 제고야 디리다 저거디 너무 탐제 크고 증기야 봐 디인상 너무 탐제 너무게 라메 되었어야지 셴메 되었어야지 너무 신이들 좀 셴좀 쓰게 너무게 지레들라 좀 버치게 마세 셴 좀 버치게 들어 라마룽을 체 셴마룽을 지게 어디 지에서 딱히 그거한테는 인구야를 쓰는 랑을 그걸로 되는 거야. 재산 주게 랑을 주가 세야지. 니 랑을 주지 약부 차고 니 랑을 뭐도 예 랑을 주단디 약부 차고서는 아니 랑을 뭐도 야지. 와야 붙여버려 봐. 랑을 주지 약부 차고서는 띵 디야 말봐 랑을 주지디요 차고서는 아니 랑을 매발라 kumdijiya diya bungiya 랑을 매세디 공부 제발라 알레 랑을 두단지 하고 그래 가르쳤지 랑을 두단지 하고 아니 디메르소야 어디에서 다디 다야네 엔두세아디 시에고야 되리
what we call the closed-minded ignorance, which is the grasping at true existence. So it's the foundation and source of all of the other klesha or destructive thoughts and emotions. And so because of that relationship, then if you are able to destroy that, the closed-minded ignorance, in other words, if you're able to destroy the grasping at true existence, then you'll be able to destroy, in other words, rid yourself of all of the destructive thoughts and emotions. All the destructive thoughts and emotions depend upon grasping at true existence, which means grasping at things, grasping at phenomena as existing from their own side. So what happens is that something will appear very beautiful to us, it appeared to be beautiful from its own side, and because that attachment arises. Or it will appear to be quite ugly from its own side, and then we believe that appearance, we grasp it as being ugly from its own side, and then hatred arises. So if you're able to pacify, in a sense, the grasping at true existence, then you're going to be able to pacify all of that, all of the attachment, all of the anger, all the other destructive thoughts and emotions. So you have this closed-minded ignorance, which serves as the foundation for all of the other destructive thoughts and emotions. And so by destroying that through grasping ignorance, all of the other destructive thoughts and emotions will cease. Because at the moment, it's because of, for example, if you think of it in terms of oneself, so grasping at an I that exists from its own side. Because we have that, then all of the other destructive thoughts and emotions, attachment, hatred, and so on, come about. And then, because we have that grasping at an I, which is an I that exists from its own side, then that is going to be followed by grasping at my possessions as being as existing from their own side. So just like it says in the verse of praise at the beginning of the right at the beginning of the Madhyamagatara, studying this Madhyamagatara, where he says, first of all we think I, and then mine, grasping at first there's grasping I, then there's grasping at mine. So then, as you become more and more familiar with how things don't exist from their own side, then you will find that the attachment and hatred become less and less, and then eventually you completely abandon them. You're completely free of them. So the main point is that all of the destructive thoughts and emotions, which bring nothing but unhappiness and suffering to oneself and others. So there's a scripture which says very clearly that the destructive thoughts and emotions destroy oneself and they destroy others. So all of those destructive thoughts and emotions come from closed-minded ignorance. And for this reason, we need to understand that nothing exists from its own side. And so if we're going to understand that, we have to understand how it is that they don't exist from their own side. And then if you have that understanding, then you're gradually going to be able to overcome the closed-minded ignorance. And through that, you're gradually going to be able to overcome all of the other destructive thoughts and emotions, which are the cause of so much suffering and unhappiness for oneself.
Sanje Sayatira, he never insa, Sanje the Jujetin, Chotam Latini, Shabbat Hago insa, Sanje Tuji, Jujetin, Catareto. And it Jujetin is Soyal Bebachi. Sanje Rangan to be Sanje did Rangan to be in Sanje Rangan to Sanje Sanje Toyameva. Sanje dear Rangi to Toyameva. Sanje said the Rangan to Devina, you generally tend to never. Never to tell Santi Jancheni, any Chosati Janchi here, Digiatica res and Sanje go on to be a chito. That it 조사 직장진 상계 공부한 두려움이 매버. 그래서 상계티 라문에 두가 있는 상계티 땡지 두두 많이 버. 다시 상계티 라문 좀 말이. 땡지리 인사 규정 땡지 초단 초발을 땡지 두고 시행되는 규정 가르를 상계 두지. 아니 규정 땡지티 라는 소야를 탑시지게 해야 돼.
The Buddha doesn't exist by his own nature. Therefore, we can understand that the Buddha comes into being through depending upon various cause and conditions. When we know that, when we think to ourselves the Buddha doesn't exist from his own side, by his own nature, depends on cause and conditions, we can ask, what are those causes and conditions? And then we will be able to make efforts to create those causes and conditions, to replicate those causes and conditions so that we can become Buddha. If the Buddha existed from his own side, then the sentient beings would exist from their own side. And it would be impossible to become Buddha. What we actually do is we go about trying to create the collections and to create merit and to purify in order to become Buddhas ourselves. But now, if the Buddha existed from his own side, then that would be completely negated. That would be completely non-existent. Because a Buddha existing from his own side means a Buddha doesn't depend upon anything else, including not depending upon any kinds of causes and conditions. So therefore, it would be impossible to create the causes and conditions to become a Buddha, because Buddha doesn't depend upon causes and conditions. So actually, the Buddha is a dependent arising, depends upon various causes and conditions, and so we can try ourselves to create those causes and conditions so that we can become enlightened.
That's it. That's it. Kasam dele to umatawa rajini tubale tendi jungi lungjungi kirim tang ludogi garim tenlas seinda tat umatawa shira rajini nituba.
And we shikati lado.
Kasan dele. That's ne. Junge tendi dela. Tendi yana jungi said. Junge tendi dela. Tene Jidan Jordan Devo said to Kangalu, Junge tendi, no Kangalu, Junge tendi today. In a Dutch and the day, Kursu, Junge tendi dela, and a tendi yana jungi shepherd. Or that tendi yana jungi shepherd. Telaya Lungjungi. Kirim tang stan lungjung tenji lungjung tang ludo singiri tenji lungjung ki kirim na shishati yala dambu mariba teleteni niba tujigile teleteni sumbanam shili teleteni shiban minsu teni tu siati tenji lungjung shiriyari kirim ti shiriyari ta tenji ludo sidi garim shiriyari ludo sidi 아니 루도스드 마리바 가페스네 언나네 루도스드 도단데 언나네 마리바 가페스 예바지지기 레카 도시세네디 마리바 가지드 예바지지기 레팅 그냥 양아 담비 마리바 지메나 예바지지기 레네 예바지지기 레네나 숨바남시 땡제네 those yeah, Gadan sharing, Galim sharing, River, or do share daddy, Dandy and the Ality, Girim down, Lonjoton, Lodo said it.
Now, if we go to the text on page 132 at the top, it mentions there the 26th chapter of Nagarjuna's fundamental treatise, the Mula Madhyamaka Karika, in other words, teaches stages of production in the forward progression of the 12 factors of dependent arising and the stage of their cessation in the reverse progression. So, generally speaking, everything is dependent arising, specifically causal phenomena, dependent arising in the sense, on the level of cause and effect. So that's general. Now, specifically, amongst the many different types of causal phenomena, Nagarjuna here is talking about the 12 links of dependent arising or dependent origination. Anyway, 12 links. So you have the forward order and the reverse order. The forward order is the order in which they are produced. So what that means is you've got the first link, ignorance, that produces the second link, which is usually called karmic formation. Then we're like compounded karma, usually. Then that produces the third link, which is the consciousness, the link of consciousness. So that's the order in which they're produced, one after the other. Then the reverse order is the order in which they can be stopped. So what that means is, we can look at it this way. If you stop the first link of ignorance, then the second link will also stop the second link, which is the cause of the compounded karma. If you stop that, then that stops the third link, consciousness, and so forth.
That is that dinane, just on Maribet Karisha, Maribet and Karishas and a yellow tumble Maribet. Tendi Seati Karishan, Chudan Jarani, Raman to within the Rotary. Simjuntilla, Maribas, Maribas, Yala Tambu Maribas here. Adi Taki Tendi Yala Juni, Sawa Yala Tambu Maribaretua. Let them Mariba said it and it. You run into what the Bellotilas here. Teletene. That in the Yala Juni Elishavina. Yala Tambu Mariba, you were teaching it as Sumbanam Shiri Tendage, Shiva means with Tendage. Ne Naba Gigi Tendage. Gigi Tendage. Tuba Tsure Tendage. Tuba Rebe Tendage. Timba Tsure Tendage. Java Sibe Tendage. Seba Set. Kuba Nembe Tendage. Juba Sibe Tendage. Gibuin. Juba Sibe Tendage. Juji by Give Tendage. Niba Gash Jiribet Tendage. That's the English. And the unity.
When we talk about ignorance in the context of the 12 links, then that ignorance refers to a mind which grasps all phenomena as existing from their own side. And that's the very root of all the other links. It's the very root of all of the samsara and of all the other destructive thoughts and emotions and so on. So now, in order to proceed, first of all, I want to list the 12 links. So first of all, you have ignorance. Then second is the compounded karma. Then the link of consciousness, that's the third one. Fourth one is name and form as appropriate. Then fifth one is the sources or the ayatanas. Then the sixth one is contact. Seventh is feeling.
No.
So to go back on to so the sixth one was the contact, right? Then seventh one feeling. Then eighth, ninth, tenth, you've got eighth is the craving, seba. Then the ninth one is lemba, grasping, taking, grasping. Then the 10th one is existence. The 11th one is birth. And the 12th one is aging and death as appropriate. Or, yeah, as appropriate.
Did this one?
No.
That Jida Maribata Maribeta Yala Tambu Maribani Tending Chabach Jida Maribatilla Economy among Mariba Siati Raishu to Batabe the Maribatiri, the Ramana to Bandibe Simjutilla. Economy among the Mariba. The land among the Mariba Siege. The land among the Mariba Siati Kandisha Sena. Chugi Chuji Jeva Chu Seni, Machu Piat. Pabata Jadila Subato Seni, Chujin Jerva. These landed among the Maribas. The crew landed among the caress and a could Chu Seni, Chuba Jesuna. The regular thing here. Chubajiati, the regular. Put the name to the choose any Chubajiati, Chugi Chujiati, Chimbatayati, Sene, the Chugi, Sene Chubajesuna, ni the Karesana, Miguai. Choose the Miguarba, choose any Chubajati, Miguete. Kogi Kujiati Miguel Bala, the Jabutilla, Dewachi, Minchichi, the ended Mumbai. Karesane, Chugi, Chusene, Chubajev, Chabati, China, Miguel Sagi. The Jabut to name Gregari, Yavala Subakira. Kurangi tea. Chubi Chuji Jabal attending Jabu. When the Kubara, Hami Kubara Tinaji, Tobachin, Menji. He just thought the landed Mumbai agent. Karamumbaresina, Kujiati, Yamikabachi. He Jabuti, Jawati Jabara. He thought the Mumbai, the Garasina, Lemikawachin and Jabu to name Guillermo Mishu, Yunguyamar. Franti Jawat Zimbarva. 대화 진전과 인상 그 레미가 와치는 제부 네 동네 중요하지 몽벌이 이 마시르제 그지 레미가 와치 레미가 와리 그 제부들의 동네 민중한 진진게 대화를 지친 거야 쳐봤지 어디들 렌즈를 몸에 말이 봤어요 들이 어디
Tanda de maripulate tinio
no yana tambi mare patri yana tambi niva diji late kun to give yana tambi mare pasya tela tande timishu yamari te koni yana mumba mare patimishu mer chidan mare balani
we need to be able to draw a distinction between ignorance, which is the first link, the first of the 12 links, and ignorance in general. When we talk about ignorance in general, you have ignorance about so about thusness, in other words, the nature of reality. So ignorance about the nature of reality. Okay, so that refers to a mental factor which grasps objects or phenomena as existing from their own side. Then the other one is the ignorance which is confused about not the nature of reality now, but about karma and its results. Okay, so there are those two: ignorance about the nature of reality, ignorance about karma and its results. So, like for example, if you think that by sacrificing pigs and various animals to make offerings, and you think that through that, making that offering, then you're going to be born as a human being or as a god in your next life, then that would be a case of ignorance about cause and karma and its results. Because actually, killing is a non-virtue. So you think that it's something virtuous that's going to lead to happiness. So you're ignorant about the fact that the killing is a non-virtue, and then you think that the killing is not going to lead to suffering. So ignorant about the fact that it's going to lead to suffering. You think it's going to lead to happiness. Actually, it's going to it's actually a non-virtue, and when you do such an action, it's a non-virtuous karma. You think it's going to lead to happiness, but actually it leads to suffering. So it's ignorant about it, that action being a non-virtue, and it's also ignorant about the result it's going to bring, the suffering it's going to bring, thinking it's actually going to lead to happiness. So you have those two types of ignorance in general: ignorance about the nature of reality, and ignorance about which is a mind, mental factor grasping things as existing from their own side, and then you have the ignorance about karma. When we talk about the ignorance which is the first of the 12 links, it only refers to the first of those two, which is the ignorance about the nature of reality.
Mari pasete, Mari pasete, karne Mari pasete. Dekho na ni Mari pas. Dekho na ni ribala. Mong barwa. Chasa dekho na ni ribala. Mong bayin san. Mari pasriya. Ta Mari pasete. Dekho na ni tashi me pato bala. Mong barwa. Rashi meba tobala, Mumbai, Rashi meba tobala, Tibai Chirva. Jasankula, Maripa Serti, Maria the Carreras and the tip Rashi mebati, Rashi mebatilla, Mumbai, yes, Rashi mebatilla Mone, Rashi Tuba, Timbarva. Just a Maripa Serti.
So for this one, the ignorance, which is the first of the 12 links, which is ignorance about the nature of reality, the thusness of phenomena, the nature of reality of phenomena. So this one is it's confused about the nature of reality. It's confused about unclear about the wisdom realizing that things don't exist from their own side. So it's a mind that obscures that realization, that understanding from us. So the word, in English it works also like ignorance is the opposite of gnosis, right? Like understanding, knowledge. So likewise in the Tibetan we have maripa. So ripa means awareness or knowing. So not knowing. Ignorance is not knowing. What is it that it doesn't know? It doesn't know the actual way of being, the actual ultimate reality of phenomena, and grasps within not knowing, grasps of things existing from their own side.
Maribati Shebareva, Sheba Yinsi, Shebetinitica, Ribalo Yitis, Lorba, Ribas here. Did Rick Siatita, Ko Rayuna till Ribaji.
I think she. So when we talk about ignorance, unawareness, so actually it is a type of awareness, because awareness is the definition of mind. So awareness is the definition of mind. So it is a kind of consciousness, and it is a kind of awareness.
You Rashid to one now, yes, Ribas, Ribas, Rayuna law, repeating is shy. Rayuna was it around you, Karasa, Maribati, Rashid to Baterva. Rashid to one now, yes, and the Kula. Ribasiati, Rashid to one now, yes, and Ribaje. Ta Maribasiati, Rashid to ba. Mato Barba, Rashi Trubati, Maripas, Rashi Trubati, Rashi Matubati, Rashi Matubal Mambayan Sarva, Tan Zindal Utila, Zindal Uti Maripa, Rashi Trubateva, Karsa, Tameto with Zindal Uti Karsa, Rashi Matubaterva. Rashi Truban Zimbayan San. Rashi Mebatal Mumbaraba. Rashi Mebal Mumbari, Rashi Mebati La Loba Shubarba. Ties and Maripa Seti Zindang Utila Tamito Shirabi, Zindang Utila Loba Shubarba. It's something Maripa Seti. And Tariko Ripa Seti, Rahina Velo Seti, Hulaya, Rashi to Banavaraba. Just some call a loss here.
So this ignorance is a mind, so it is a kind of awareness. So to be an awareness, in other words, an awareness, or when we say ignorance, so the opposite of ignorance is awareness. Ignorance kind of means non-awareness. So awareness is defined as a mind to which its object appears. So in the case of ignorance, existence from its own side would be the object appearing to it. So from that point of view, it is a kind of awareness. It is, in other words, it is an awareness, and it is a mind. So this ignorance doesn't realize that its object is empty of existing by its own nature. It's ignorant about that. Whereas the wisdom, its opposite, the wisdom realizing the emptiness, that's a mind that realizes the thing, the thing that the object is empty of existing from its own side. So the ignorance is like unclear about that, is ignorant about, is not aware of that, that object, which is the object of the mode of apprehension of the wisdom. So the object of the mode of apprehension of wisdom is emptiness of existence from its own side. So that ignorance doesn't know that. Its object of the mode of apprehension, which is often called like apprehended object, that would be the existence from its own side.
Tati maribati, Tatine I tell me about Jigileseti. Jigileseti, Rashig Trube, Yurangan to the Zimbe, Loti, Toki, Niti, Sajili, Lungabi Lech, Sajil Lech, Sasun, that's Sajil lesson. Then Maribekun Nandi. Nicola Chebby, Soju Chebby, Nesun to Gigi, Niba Gigi Lese. Nicola the car kind of roach Chesuna, Soju down, Machimba Lember, Marie Becun and Auntie, Miguel Ledge Sasuna, Nesun Pigi, Niba Gigi Lesas. Tatine Marie Becun and Auntie, the Red Honey Cobantuchi to the Chidu, give a ledge Chesona, children ledge, Chimbada Chitan. The Red Honey Cobantu the Chidu, Chimbatan, children soon. Any Sovacum, Tinda Chesona, Tisaji give a less. The Red Honey Cobantu is a jig give a less, double pingy. A lady to get. Tatini, yeah, you run it to be Kunalangi. Oma Pinji, Le, Bena, something in Juraj Kumna, Dingy Kumsuna. A dingy that dingy Sumility Ajita, Suliki Ajinia. Susukiwa in a Sunday Junior of Chicum. Something we should have Chikumsuna. Any the Susuki Jiniba to Jigas. Niaji. Sumi we should have Chikum Sumbina. And the Sumiki Jigi. Niba to Jigas. Tatika Ganga Sachi Kivelis. Sachi lake, Sachi lake, the Niba to Jigi said, Maribekunelanti. Sachi Lesa Suna as Karasa. Niba Niba Maribe, Yanata Maribekunelanti. Ni Sabe, Sachi lake. Ni Niba to Jigi less. Tatile lady, never pingy lady. Development pingy lady. Goma pingy lady, Lesumir.
Then we move on to the second of the 12 links, which is the compounded karma. So you have the mind grasping the object existing from its own side. Then through the force of that, you accumulate or collect or create contaminated karma. So that contaminated karma would be the what we're talking about when we say the second link, compounded karma. Like, for example, okay, so motivated by that first link of ignorance, the mind grasps with the object as existing from its own side. If motivated by that, you engage in some kind of non-virtue, such as killing. It could be, any kind of non-virtue, but if you take killing as an example, then you would be creating the karma to be born in the unfortunate realms. And so that karma would be the second link of compounded karma, and it would be the throwing karma it would be called what's called the non-virtuous throwing karma, which is the throwing karma that propels you into the unfortunate realms. Then so there are three of these types of karma. So there's that's one, the throwing karma that propels you into birth into the lower realms, which is called non-virtuous throwing karma. Then alternatively, motivated by the first link ignorance, you might engage in some kind of virtuous karma in order to be born as a human being or as a god after this life, such as practicing generosity, morality, patience. In that case, you would have created the karma, which is called the contaminated virtuous throwing karma. Contaminated virtuous throwing karma. Then again, motivated by the first link of ignorance, if you, in order to be born in one of the upper realms, which refers to the form and formless realms, as opposed to the desire realm. So, for example, you again motivated by that the first link ignorance, you meditate on one of the what you usually call firm contemplation, something. So anyway, when we talk about the form realms, then you're talking about the four firm contemplations, and then there are the formless realms. So then you have the formless concentrations. So when motivated by that ignorance, then the first link ignorance, you meditate on the absorption into one of the firm contemplations. In other words, you meditate on that kind of concentration. Then you would be creating the throwing karma to be born in one of the in one of the levels of the form realm. If you wanted to be born in one of the formless realms, one of the different levels of the formless realm, then you would need to have meditated on the actual absorption of the formless realm. So to be born in the form realm, then the karma you create is to be meditating on the actual absorption of one of the form realm meditations, the four firm contemplations. To be born in the formless realm, then you would be meditating on the actual absorption into one of the concentrations of the formless realm. So all of those are contaminated virtuous karmas. So to recapitulate, you've got, when we talk about compounded karma, the second link. Then you've got 3 types. There's the you've got the non-virtuous throwing karma, then contaminated virtuous karma, and the other one is called like another kind of the virtuous karma, which is called the unmoving karma.
That
Unmoving throwing karma.
yeah, did that. Nesu pinjing le napule si yan le napule sonum le miuele sumia. Ticherina napule se nesu pinjing le tichetanjik. And a sonum glass in the Velham pinjing le sonum glass. Miuele in Goma pinjing, so the sumi. Goma pinjing le miuele. Tanji Shetan the Karesania teacher Mures Taba member Tanjiti to teacher young Nabule ni any Kabule Kanan Gemele Kabule said it. Development pinjiglet is a canon in Malaysia. Caresina Tamzan Namiti Pumputi Kabile Tenetubari, Gavile. That he negasu Pumputi Tento Nena Mambo Yungutuga Ne to Napoli, cool. Ne runs nothing. Kura Mune Pumbuti Gavelated to Pivariti. Pumbuti and Chamtam, Dewa Inguia, Chamtam, Kane Inguia, Kanan Jama City, Dewa Yagin Cabo Sigara. Nay, Narwata, so I think in the soup. Any we are the Manapules, Canon Gemeles. That depends related. Then we tell Nenato Yati, who Migueles Sabre, Migueles Sabre. Eating the G. Dewa Yati, Kabule table. Another thing remain Chamda. Dewa Inquire, Chamda, Gane. That's something Yati Chavin Umanata, Mikivarati, never cheese with that. The Vehalaji, the Chide point Gisirva, someday the Sumitusula, Niti Mabing. Karasure Kabile city Mish, Kabile Mishigi. Now, nowadays, come Kumatus, now the G, connected memory. And she need Karasuna crew. Ma, you know, Tierva. The Karasuna Kabile say. Nema Napoli Sashabati the only Maki Kabule Sabati the Yito. He can let Lesar to Masavache, so you never. Could they what did you study it? Cana Gemellet, the Velet, here, the Pagilet. Cana Gemellet,
So thank you I did Michele down, Michele Pegile down, Gay Pegile. Yana the Pegile Sumi.
Oh, the Yana Sumi. But 얘는 담보 제비는 미개월에 직제 미개월에 승리제 개월에 들었다 쓰는 길에 미개월에 니딩 불바 이 제베 다들 저 필기에 들어 고마 편지기에 저들은 편지기에다 고마 편지기에 개월에 진짜 소수 편지기에 미개월에就是切呢 니드체 니드나네 니그 개월에들 까빌에들 까부스는 개월에 지다 개월에 가르치시게 가르치세야지 제부 이동안 진이들 가르치세요 가르치고 진이들 제발에 되어 중앙에 그 제발에 때문에 되어 중에 가르치고 진이지 제발에 되어 중앙 가르치고 진이지 그래서 그냥 개월간 가르치 제사 단대티 레벨하면 편집이 내단 공업 편집이 내지 길을 내래 얘네야 코어 편집이 내래 동네 템버리 이 군주 템버를 받아 주부디 레이지 군주를 봐 코어 계직이 레이지 봐 내가 레이지 군주를 다 제사 다디 순체가 있나 나불레 손은 게 손 미래에 순체가 손은 글에서야 된다고 하는 편지기를 했지 미래에서는 공업 편지기를 했지 나불레에서는 예술 편지기를 했지 양가불레 나불레 가난게mel에 선지제베는 나불레티 예술 편지기를 했지 가불레티 공업 편지기를 했지 가면 가난게mel에서 대법 편지기를 했지 가난게mel에서
라미.
야
라미라.
아
라미 편지.
데벨링 데벨 편지 쓰는 비결 데벨 데벨트다 데벨하다 미미야 제진의 시도수 데벨 부여봐
So now, so the thing that so anyway, what I was explaining before is the two types of karma. Okay, two types of throne karma. There's the non-virtuous one, and then the virtuous throne karma. So now, if we talk in terms of three types of karma, you've got the because of the the Miguel Pinchile, Sangile, Miguel Sangile, the Mioile. So yeah, when we talk about three types, we can also talk about three types of karma, three types of throne karma. There's non-virtuous throne karma. So anyway, non-virtuous karma, meritorious karma, and immovable karma. So the non-virtuous karma would be the kind of karma which propels you into the three lower realms. In other words, it propels a birth in the three unfortunate realms. The meritorious karma would be the kind of virtuous karma which propels you to a birth in one of the happy realms, as we usually call it. It means as a human being or as a desire realm, God. Then the unfluctuating or unmoving karma is the karma which propels birth as a in the form or formless realm, any of those two. So then we can also talk about white karma, black karma, and mixed karma. So when we talk about, well, anyway, so the karma which causes you to be born in the unfortunate realms would be called black karma. Then the kind of karma which causes you to be born in the karma to be born like it as a desire realm, God or as a human being, would be called a mixture of black and white. The reason for that is that if you're born as a human being, then the the karma to be born as a human being is white karma. But then while you have those aggregates, then sometimes you have there's nice things happen. You experience happiness. Sometimes you have problems. So those problems would be the result of non-virtuous karma. In other words, the black karma. So that's why it's a mix of the white and black. Now, when we talk about birth as desire around gods, there are 6 types of desire around God, and so they have a lot of pleasure, but then towards the end of their life, there are the signs of their impending death and where they're going to be born after that life, and that causes them a huge amount of suffering. So that would be the result of the non-virtue. So whereas if you're born in the formal formless realm, then you have all of that the happiness. So those aggregates are the result of virtuous karma, and then you don't have the suffering. They don't get this great suffering in the mind from seeing their next life and seeing that they're going to die. They have their virtuous karma runs out, so their life comes to an end. They haven't created any other good karma, so then they're born elsewhere. So that's called the karma that produces that kind of life is called white karma, not a mix of white and black. So in other words, the black karma causes you to be born in the lower realms, unfortunate realms. It's a mixture of black and white, which causes which you need to when you're born as a human being or desire around God, and then white karma for being born in the upper realms.
Okay.
So I think we can have one question.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay. So Rinpoche, I'm confused. So this is from last week's class. How is it that if all the schools believe in dependent arising, that there's a different perspective on the nature of reality? Is it because that they all don't see dependent arising as empty? Or is it when they do their analysis of the nature of reality that they are coming at it from different sides? So is the lower schools, or the other 3, not Prasangika, are the other 3 looking at the vase, trying to find a vase, whereas Prasangika is trying to find the emptiness of the vase?
So in other words, why is it that the Prasangikas can use dependent arising to reach the idea that things are empty, existing from themselves, but the other ones
don't? But they all believe in dependent arising.
The Tutashigalo the tended killing to us. Any the Shinadu the Kagaris, thank you bit. Then the insan Rangani to Tombares, the Tugiores. Shinadu the Tutu was. The Kagaris.
Rangani to the church. Then the insan Rangani to the then the insan Rangani to see. Thank you, but then the insan Rangani to see.
The reason is that for the Prasangikas, because it's a dependent arising, therefore it's empty of existing from its own side. For all of the rest of them, because it's a dependent arising, it exists from its own side. It has to exist from its own side. That's the difference.
Because isn't dependent arising emptiness? Isn't it compounded? So doesn't dependent arising mean empty? Or do they not see it like that? No.
Then there's the Dombanile the court Chibujiga Marves.
Then
Why did the Chiba Marves?
Go ahead, thank you, Chibare.
Yeah, as far as the Prasangika system is concerned, the they come down to the same thing, but not for the other systems.
Rangi batam majete tendi da Rashi mevaseti chiba mari Rangi be tendi ina Rashi kube chapsi tendi ina ta junde tendi ina Rashi kube chadunde Rashi kube insi ta tendi ina Rashi kube chapsi.
For the Prasangikas, the very fact that it's dependent arising means it has to be empty of existing by its own nature or from its own side. The other ones, they say the complete opposite. They say anything which is dependent arising has to exist from its own side. Of course, they think that dependent arising only refers to causative phenomena. So they say anything which is dependent arising has to exist from its own side, has to exist by its own nature. So that's finished, right?
It's okay. It's okay. We can end. Yeah, no, it's not finished.
Yeah, I guess I'm done with this.
So, when you said that the formless realm or forms realm, they have white karma. That's why they born formless and formless. But they don't make any new karma when they were living. So they're happy, but then they don't make bad karma. Why would they go down somewhere else?
Previous life.
Yes. Oh, for previous life.
That because of the Goma Penjigilla and the Gabale like those Kasna the deep Pumbo ki Penjigilla and the Gavele Shavares, Gabale Shavares, and because of the Kangede Yomares, ne Lesaba Miguel the Kaka, the Gabale, the Gavele the Sagio Maras, Diliga, and it did any mad drug and the colors.
Did not Nabeles Shabiarba. Nabeles Sashabi sent you in reality. Tell any Igaya capillates, Kran Sabe capillates, Temperature. Any capillate, Sonambi, less Sagi much. That goes in man. Napoleti tani Napoleti ni machiaris.
Yes, so the person who's been born in those upper realms, whether it's form or form realm, they still have their previous non-virtuous karma. Then during that life, they're not creating any more virtuous karma, and sort of like the momentum or the power of the karma that caused them to be born in that upper realm runs out, and so then there's inevitably then they're going to be born in the lower realms.
That the summi ta samde kuna ranja likia tenda ya deval family kia ta ya nyawa likia kita tikanga yuchu yare kula.
It is possible, actually, for somebody who has been born in one of those upper realms, form and formless realms. After that life, they could be born again in the upper realms, or they could be born as a desire realm, God, for example, or they could be born in the lower realms. Any of those are possible. So I think we'll stop there.
So Jimmy
Sabekewati tendandro akuna kamben yaba jizon lozon trabayi tendeni mori seje sho kore shingande pendande wa mali chungwe cheneze wan tenzin gatso shabezite ba engyuru chi